The Warriors took the home court of advantage last night from Minnesota, but it came with bruise. It came probably in the way that no Warriors fan expected or wanted. Stephen Curry was down with less than 13 minutes in the game, and that has every single Warriors fan holding their breath. He's going to go through an MRI today. We're going to know more about the severity of the hamstring, but he's out for game 2, right? That's a fact. Like, even that is not out there confirmed, especially because we took game 1. I don't see a reason to try that, even if they say that you can. I don't think we should. I think it gave us a margin for resting him. Because look, there's good and bad, right? Last night when I was watching the game, I said, look, I feel that the way the Warriors are playing has lots to do with the Houston Rockets series. The strength, the will, the effort that everyone was making, even before Steph was down, it was a lot more than how Minnesota came to the game. And I think that at the same time that we all thought that Minnesota would come rested, they were rusty, right? You can see that they struggle, and I don't expect them to struggle the same way for the other games. If they do, yes, we're going to take it. And sometimes you need a little bit of lucky as well in this playoff series. But reality is like they were rust and the Warriors are sharp. We started really well. It gave us some room. They made some runs as well. Stephen Curry was killing in the beginning, 13 points in less than 13 minutes. And then it came the hamstring problem. Draymond Green started spectacularly from the offense side. And Buddy Hield had a poor first half catch up when Steph was down. So there's a lot to think. We won't see for sure Stephen Curry in game 2. We will see a lot more of Jim Butler. That's the time for him to show the real Jim Butler. Because look, do I think that the Warriors roster right now is the best one? No, I think we have flaws. I think we have things to improve. And I think we have young guys, which will improve over the years. But I think we have we have a very smart, intelligent coaching staff. And we have leaders with experience. We know what it takes to do it. And Bruce, like Stephen Curry going down, Jim Butler with the tailbone problem, and Draymond Green, we can see sometimes like how much effort he did, especially in the last series against the Rockets. Those guys know what it takes. And if we can hold, like, look, it's unlikely, right? Especially without Stephen Curry, a whole game that no one is going to bet on the Warriors taking game 2. But if that happens, like, we're a really good place. And I think if the Warriors keep winning, we're going to keep resting Stephen Curry, right? Usually hamstring, there's 3 levels. The first one usually takes a week. Some professional athletes with fast recovery and treatment and everything that they do so professionally, they come earlier. But I don't think the Warriors would take any risk with Steph if we don't need to. So game 2 is going to be another key element in this series. Let's see how Minnesota, because look, Minnesota beat themselves. Let's not take from our players and the effort that was made, but they beat themselves as well, right? They started 0 from 16 from the 3-point line. It's hard to believe that that's going to happen again, right? Anthony Edwards missed the first 10 field goals. So yeah, it was a great night for the Warriors to show that they can do it. They can still be tough and they can beat Minnesota without Steph. But it's going to require a lot more because Minnesota knows as well, right? They're going to design a whole thing right now around the Warriors team without their main player. So it's a chess game. And who else said that? Take a look on what Shaq said after the game.
I mean, look, we don't know the severity of the injury to the hamstring. Again, they're going to do an MRI. But where do you go if he's not going to be able to go?
Well, it's chess, not checkers. We won tonight, so we did what we were not supposed to do. However, we got it done, so we're probably going to sit them out game 2 no matter what until we get, all the details. Hopefully, it's just a little sprain, but Steve Kerr said it best. It's part of the game. and somebody has to step up. Buddy Hill's probably going to be that guy. He didn't shoot well in the first half, but he picked up in the second half. So, if you don't have Steph, it'll definitely be a different game. Jimmy's going to have to take more of the offensive role. He went 7 for 20 tonight, but without Steph, they're just a regular team. But, I say rest them this next game, and then if we win that game, rest them again. So, because again, it's chess, not checkers.
And that's what I expect as well. Let's see how things go. Game 2 on Thursday night, still in Minnesota. Without Steph, for sure, we're going to see more of everyone else, right? Because I think one thing that Steve Kerr did really well last night, and it was a consequence of the 7-game series against the Rockets, was playing everyone, right? We saw Gui Santos, but the only one that didn't come to the game was Tracy Jackson. But Looney came and gave us really massive rebounds in that last quarter. We saw JK start picking up. I hope now that especially the game without Steph, that he can come and he can find his space. He had I think 7 points last night. So we're gonna need everyone. Even Pat Spencer. I think Pat Spencer is a great player. So in GP2 that has been very important on defending Anthony Edwards. So it's going to be a collective effort. And obviously, the two main pillars will be Draymond and Jim Butler, right? Which Jimmy, we expect him to take control of the offense pace and the plays. And then you have Draymond, which I want to say again, showed very good behavior and not just in that, but focusing and locked in the game against the Rockets last game 7 and last night the same, including that play where he went to separate Don DiVincenzo that was sort of stepping over Jim Butler. That's the Draymond that we need. That's the winning champion Draymond Green. So those are going to be the two main guys, and then we're going to need other guys to step up. Buddy Hield, maybe it's going to be the one. We saw during the regular season Moses Moody doing that, but unfortunately he's in this slump, shooting a slump in the bad moment. And JK that potentially can come and turn the page. It's another threat. But yeah, the Warriors have what it takes. And I think they know what to do, right? Look at what Draymond Green said about what is needed without Steph.
Steve said he's operating as if he's going to game plan without Steph for game 2 because of the tricky nature of a hamstring. How much falls on your shoulders for playmaking? You had 18, 8, and 6 tonight. Do you feel like you're going to have to do even more? Does your role change at all offensively without Steph?
I think I have 4 turnovers again tonight, so I think just taking better care of the ball because your margin for error shrinks dramatically without Steph.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Without Steph, you obviously lose offense power and you lose the guy that can bring something different. You still have Jim Butler, but as obviously you lose your main player. So you got to take care of the ball. Last night, the Warriors, they win the rebound battle against a much more sizable team. We know that requires effort, and we're gonna need that, right? GB2 and Butler, Steve Kerr, they all said the same thing. We're gonna need to take care of the ball. We're gonna need to take care of the pace of the game, and the margin for error without Steph goes. It's much smaller. And if he can buy time, reality is not a disaster, right? Even if we lose game 2, you go to a road trip. 2 games playing Minnesota and you take one of the games, that's already massive. That's similar to what we did with the Rockets, right? Then we got to go home and guarantee that. And we are buying time for Steph. Game 2 is Thursday. Game 3 is on Saturday, depending on the level, depending on how I recover. Because one thing is that I noticed it didn't look the way that Steph came out of the game. There was that really big stretch that you go to the floor, that it's really painful. It sounds like he fell, and he is a veteran. He has experience. He hold it. He knew that he could make that a lot worse if he keeps forcing it. So hopefully it's not something a lot more severe, and he can comes back for game 3, probably depending if the war needs or not. But game 2 is tomorrow. Really curious to see how the Warriors is going to behave without Steph, and he can hold Minnesota again. Great defensive effort last night. If they can do it, the Warriors are in really good shape. I see you tomorrow.